Says Samuel L. Jackson gives a reality check to Steve Harvey. No one likes you. You know, sometimes with these videos, you gotta like read in between the lines. They might take a little while to get to the point. And then you want to know, did they really say this? So we gonna see. We gonna see, because like I said, a lot is coming out, and I just want to know, you want to know who you're supporting, man. That's the key thing. So we ain't gonna waste no more time. Let's jump right into it.
Even people with the least amount of controversy to their name also happen to dislike Harvey. Just like Williams has been using his voice to reveal Harvey's true nature to the world, Samuel L. Jackson is another industry veteran who's been doing a lot more than just raising that banner under wraps and at the forefront. I mean, think about it. When have you ever heard or seen both men together? Isn't that a little strange for an industry where veterans in their levels are usually friends or at least acquaintances?
Really
Yet somehow
haven't.
these men have rarely been in the same room. Well, it turns out much of that is actually thanks to Jackson. Everyone knows Samuel L. Jackson is a pretty stand-up guy who has managed to stay on top of several franchises for decades, all while avoiding any form of controversy. It would seem the man only picks people who share his values as friends, and that is the one thing we're sure Steve has never had. That, and the fact that Jackson actually used to be best friends with Bernie Mac. I know for a fact that if the name Steve Harvey rings any bells to you, then you have probably heard about his connections to Bernie Mac.
I didn't know
Yes,
that.
the men worked together and were even friends for a minute. But as Cat Williams has revealed to be the pattern with Harvey, he actually tried to push Bernie under the bus. His very public betrayal of his one-time co-star and friend aside, Steve Harvey's entire image has not just its roots, but a significant part of its growth drenched in controversy. Let me prove that to you by painting a quick picture. Steve, among many things, is an author, and he's written books about how to maintain relationships over the years, and even somewhat carved out a niche for himself with that. However, this man has been married not once, not twice, but 3 whole times, with each of those marriages, including the current one, having been connected to either violence or cheating allegations. Tell me, do you really think many respected figures are going to take someone who throws stones in a glass house seriously? If you're a Steve Harvey fan, I hate to break it to you, but Jackson isn't the only top player who thinks this low of Harvey. He's only where it begins. To most people who aren't exactly fans, tales like this about the man aren't particularly shocking. I mean, if someone's lifestyle is an almost perfect contrast to the message they're preaching, it can only imply that they might have scammed their way to the top. But don't just take it from me. Take it from the people who have either had up-close interactions with him or even those around him.
Another side of him. I think he's still that same smart Steve. He's still that. But now you're also seeing another side of him that he never had to show.
Regardless of how he became successful, it would be disingenuous to write off that this man has made himself into one of the biggest brands in television and even the comedy industry at large. Starting his career in the 1980s, a time when the comedy industry was in flames, Steve Harvey didn't have an easy rise to the top of the ladder. According to his website, the man's entry into comedy was actually a leap of faith. He was encouraged to perform at an open mic comedy night in 1985. Harvey brought down the house, and the next day he quit his job to pursue his dream. As Harvey himself said, "You have to jump and take a leap of faith in order to soar." Per the comic's description of his story, the road to success...
This is like Steve Harvey telling people he used to be homeless. That's my story. That's not his story. Steve Harvey wasn't never homeless. When Mark Curry was touring with him 25 years ago, he was making
Steve abandoned all pretense of being
$3,000 a
civilized
week.
and create a boundary between himself and his colleagues in his memo, treating them as inferiors. The memo read, "My security team will stop everyone from standing at my door who have the intent to see or speak to me. I want all the ambushing to stop now. That includes TV staff. You must schedule an appointment. I promise you I will not entertain you in the hallway, and do not attempt to walk with me." Steve even responded to the backlash over the memo. And would you believe if I told you this man doubled down instead of apologizing? He thinks people wanting to talk to him are taking advantage of him. Talk about arrogance. I could not find a way to walk from the stage to my dressing room, to sit in my makeup chair, to walk from my dressing room to the stage, or to just sit and have lunch without somebody just walking in. I've always had a policy where, you can come and talk to me. So many people are great around here, but some of them just started taking advantage of it. Steve thinks having fans and people waiting on him felt like a prison and was sick of it. I just didn't want to be in this prison anymore, where I had to be in this little room, scared to go out and take a breath of fresh air without somebody approaching me, so I wrote the letter. In the end, he straight up refused to acknowledge his mistake or apologize. After years of being untouchable, Steve thinks he can say or do anything without any consequences. I don't apologize about the letter, but it's kind of crazy what people who took this thing and ran, man. He has now refused to allow anyone approach him at work, which makes it obvious that he doesn't think many people are worthy of his time. It's clear that Steve doesn't even recognize how irritating and conceited he comes across, and he has no plans to improve his reputation. It's possible that some of you are thinking he has good reason to avoid talking to anyone at work. You fail to remember, though, that he has always been a jerk, and this is exactly why Samuel L. Jackson has steered clear of him. Actually, their relationship is more akin to one of them not liking the other, and the other being little afraid of the former. It appears to be as intricate as one may anticipate, but the specifics of their conflict are far more widespread than most people are aware of. To begin with, it appears Jackson may not be entirely convinced that Harvey is the person he presents himself to the public as being, both personally and professionally. And although the Avengers actor's contempt has been quite obvious over the years, he recently raised the flag by discussing his encounter with Harvey while on vacation. A couple of years ago, pictures of Jackson with his wife, along with Harvey and his wife at a vacation spot, surfaced online, and because of the limited information people had about the pair at the time, everyone assumed that they had been friends. The headlines at the time even read, "Life on the Ocean Rave. Pals Steve Harvey, Samuel L. Jackson, and Magic Johnson enjoy July 4th on luxury yacht with their wives." A few years down the line, Jackson revealed that the specifics of their meeting were not planned. The actor disclosed that he and his wife had merely run into Harvey and his wife while en route to their annual vacation destination.
Steve Harvey, I hear y'all take vacations together on the yacht or something.
Well, we get on the boat with Magic and Cookie. Steve and Marjorie have their own.
It's evident from Jackson's facial expression during his remarks that he wanted
You see how like when you gotta when stuff come out, you need to really talk to the source, because I never seen that headline or nothing like that, but from once you get a picture and they print it, oh, what, they hanging out together? Yeah, see, he's saying we were there and they end up coming or had their own, so it wasn't a group thing.
everyone to know that meeting Steve was nothing more than a coincidence. This raises the question of why Jackson might not be the biggest fan of Steve. It turns out that Bernie Mac might have played a major role in it, and you know who had a dispute with Mac? Steve Harvey. You see, while the pair were in the same group, Harvey was hell-bent on kicking Bernie Mac out of his way. This is messed up on so many levels, mostly because they were supposed to be a pair of professionals chasing joint success, but news that has hit the media about Harvey alleges that he only cared about himself from the beginning.
All right. So, the video is going to be a lot shorter than what is here, just because it took a while to get to Samuel, and at the end, it wasn't really too much. So it's going to be a shorter video. I just want to see what Samuel Jackson had to say. But again, man, when people come out and start exposing the truth, you get everybody scrambling because they're like, oh no, I know, oh no. And I like Cat Williams is like, man, I've made enough money to be fine pretty much for the rest of my life and my kids' life. But some people, that greed, that fame and that greed kicks in. So they want more. They want more. They want more. They want to be able to just buy and buy and buy and spend and do all these extravagant things every day. And in order to level up like that, you got to pay the price. And that's what Cat Williams is saying about Kevin Hart and about all of them. You know, always say, man, like, when somebody becomes extremely famous, look at the people that they're close to and notice how they kind of start to just disappear out of nowhere. Like, you don't know, oh, this person had health condition, nothing like that. They end up just dying. So y'all can think what y'all want to think. I'm going to think what I want to think. But for those of you who know, y'all know. Again, appreciate y'all coming over and watching, man. Peace out.